So I'm delighted to have on the line today Jean-Pierre Mondelec, who is the newly appointed CEO of Hausa in the UAE. Good morning, good afternoon, Jean-Pierre.
Hi, good afternoon, Ed. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So for those who don't know, could you tell us a little bit about the real estate portal situation in the UAE and how Hausa came about?
So the real estate portal market here in the UAE is quite evolved. It's currently a duopoly market. We've got two players, as you probably already know, Property Finder and Bayut, which acquired my predecessor at Dubizzle. And then Hausa has come about basically to operate as a challenger to those portals, backed by 16 agencies.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that Hausa's kind of a third player because you're quite new in competition? As well, I spoke to Jason Sebb from On the Market the other day, and he said when they started up, they were an insurance policy. Would that be fair to say, or are you trying to be a bit more than
that? Maybe perhaps this is a good opportunity to talk a little bit about the Hausa origin story. So Hausa started in 2020 formally, but the conversation started as early as 2019 when frustration was building in the marketplace, just in terms of the level of monetization, if you will, from the incumbents. And I think where this really reached a breaking point, frankly, was during COVID, when, as you can imagine, many of these agencies couldn't show properties and were brought down to their knees. And when it came time to ask for a fee break, neither of the incumbents were willing to cede. And that ultimately drove the industry for the first time really in the UAE to come together and build a challenger portal. And that's where Barry, my predecessor, was tapped to basically set up this business and get it off of the ground. And I've taken over from Barry about 6 weeks ago.
Okay, and what is the shareholder structure with Hausa? So you said it's the agents came together. Is it fully agent owned, or is it partly agent owned, as is the case with On the Market in the UK?
So as of right now, the entire 5.5 million that we've raised since our founding has come from agencies. However, we are going to be going to the market to look to raise capital from an institutional investor going forward.
Okay, and so how does having agents on the board or as investors impact what you can and can't do? Is there kind of a limit to the prices you can charge, or is there something another way around it?
So I can see how one might be worried that there's a conflict of interest. However, I think the way we've gotten around this is basically having a gentleman's agreement in terms of how much can you increase rates within a span of time. I think that's how we got people past that. However, I think it's unlocked a lot of opportunities for us with our shareholders in terms of problem solving for some of the lingering problems in the industry, whether it's around fake listings or duplicate listings. We can work directly with our shareholders to tackle them head on, right? And we'll talk later, obviously, about only on Hausa, but I think also from the challenge around pricing and pricing transparency, we've also partnered with some best-in-class third-party technology providers that we've given access to 250 agencies that are listing on our platform that normally wouldn't have access to these tools.
Okay, so you mentioned it there. I want to talk about what makes Hausa different from other portals out there.
Sure.
You mentioned those exclusive listings. That's something that we've seen with my previous interview On the Market as well. Can you tell us about that? How long are they exclusive for? How many listings have you got? And what are the kind of mechanics around persuading agencies to do you a favor, basically?
Sure. So we launched only on Hausa with 10 agencies who are listing about 100 new listings a day that last on the site for 72 hours. So on a weekly basis, when you include the refresh cycle, we're talking about 1,000 unique listings per week, which is quite powerful for the property seeker. And these are listings that are verified, that hit our site before they get advertised anywhere else. And that's currently our slogan, Real Homes First to Market. But above and beyond that, what motivates these agencies to participate in this, right, is don't forget, unlike other platforms, Hausa doesn't go via a VAS model to push listings to the top and monetize on that. Our listing algorithm is purely based on two main factors: quality of the ad and exclusivity of the content. And that's what surfaces those listings to the very top. And that's what encourages these agencies and agents to participate in Only on HazaAd.
Okay, so you have exclusive listings, you have an algorithm which seems fairly unique to me in that it just promotes the best listing for the user rather than, you know, who's paid the most. What
combination, by the way, combination of like a number of seekers that are engaging with the listing, the how complete the ad is, photos, is there a 360 tour, etc. So that's how we define quality, by the way.
Okay, and how does Houza's revenue generation work? Is it, I guess it's not pay to list if that's how the algorithm works.
Correct. So you've hit it on the head. So basically we charge on a per lead basis, and we discriminate the cost per lead rate based on essentially the value of the home. So we've created zones, if you will, based on the average price of homes, and have a cost per lead, if you will.
Okay. I want to get into something that was kind of a bugbear. There are kind of two bugbears that I have with real estate portals around the world, and I want to get into them with you. Firstly, I tend to think that real estate portals aren't fully adopting all the technology that they could, and that they might be a little bit disingenuous with their reasons. I know for a fact that things like offer management, virtual offer management, where you can bid for a property on a real estate portal, that technology exists. I know that 360 tours, they have existed for a long time. We know that users love them, but portals maybe aren't embracing them so much. They don't have a filter. Firstly, would you agree with that? You don't have to agree with it at all. And secondly, is there a very good reason why some portals don't seem to be embracing this technology? And the reason I'm asking you, and the reason that I asked the interviewees on the series, is that I suspect that it's agent interest behind the lack of adoption, let's say.
And I'd love to just unpack a little bit that comment.
Please do.
What is it, do you think, from the agent's perspective would be against adopting this technology?
I think it's pretty basic.
Like 360 tour, for example. Yeah. What do you think is a big objection to 360 tours?
My thing with agents versus portals tends to be that I would imagine that if I were an agent, I would prefer users to come to my website rather than go to the real estate portal. So that if a real estate portal starts announcing more features, more tech, starts putting more the onus on me as an agent to include more things on the listing, then maybe I wouldn't be so happy about it. And the portals are maybe, in my opinion, pandering to agent desires a little bit there. But I could be wrong. That's why I'm asking.
Right. If I put on my old Dubizzle hat on, right, and think about the rate at which we were able to bring innovation to the site, I think, frankly, the explanation for maybe some of the tardiness is not so calculated as you described. Frankly, I think it's just the amount of legacy technology and the monolithic structure of the tech makes it very hard for these older platforms. Yeah, right. It honestly, I can tell you, like, there were so many great ideas that we wanted to adapt back then, but we couldn't. But now with Houza, starting on a blank piece of paper and using best-in-class technology, which we're democratizing and making it accessible to agents, even in the smaller agencies, is quite powerful. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look through our site, but we make Property Base, which is a Salesforce powered tool, CRM tool, available to our agencies at a discounted rate. We partnered with Reedon, which Ahmed Kayhan founded, and provide that real transactional data for free to all the agencies that are listing on our site. Speaking of 360 tours, we work with a company called Unwrapped Media, again at discounted rates for all agencies that will use that tool. Overwrite.ai to help kind of accelerate how agents write content for their listings, et cetera, et cetera. So we're all about trying to improve the property seeker experience by empowering agents to improve quality, because the way our algorithm works is it pushes your listing to the top based on the quality of the listing. So we're all about this, frankly, in a way that I think a lot of other sites can't, because we're not shackled, frankly, by some of those legacy approaches.
Okay. The other kind of bugbear that I have with real estate portals, and I can already kind of tell that you guys don't fall into this category, is I think a lot of portals around the world are quite myopic and they only really pay attention to what is happening in their own market and maybe don't look at innovations that are going on in other markets. Firstly, would you say that's fair? And what do you guys do to monitor what's going on in other real estate portals around the world?
I have to give you guys a lot of credit, right? I've been enjoying spending time on your platform and reading about some of the progress in other markets. But there's a couple of players that we obviously look to for inspiration. So I think we'd have our heads in the sand if we weren't looking at what Zillow is doing with Flex, right? Where not charging for the lead upfront, but then maybe taking a piece of the commission. Or looking at a player like Property24 in South Africa that charges per leads, right? Other players like Hemnet, which monetize on the back of the seller as opposed to the agent or the agency. So there's and then obviously Compass with exclusive content in some of the markets that they operate in. So we're absolutely looking at players all over the world for inspiration to try to improve the model and try to basically crack this this problem that has persisted in this market around fake listings, duplicate listings, and the frustration that sits between the property seeker and the agents, frankly. So we're trying to make property seekers more fulfilled in their search journey, but also make agents more successful as well.
Okay,
and build that flywheel.
Yeah, no, it's a good answer. I'm going to end on a difficult and open-ended question. Firstly, is House's goal to become eventually the market leader, or are you happy being an insurance policy? And if your goal is to become a market leader, how do you do that? The other guys seem to have a very big head start.
Yeah, it's fair to say that yes, there's a large gap between us and the incumbents. However, we believe in the flywheel or the network effects that we are going to be building. So as you know, I came from Amazon, big believer in the flywheel. Over there, it's about selection and low prices. In our case, it's all about quality, and then it's about agent responsiveness, agent professionalism on the site, engagement, if you will. So the way we see it is the more high quality content you have and exclusive content, more property seekers will prioritize you in the search journey, driving more traffic and leads to the site. More traffic and leads to the site will draw more agents and agencies to populate, and that content flywheel will spin. And then as high quality leads are coming in, more top agents will start to prioritize Houza and only on Houza as a source of leads for them, and then improve their engagement rate with the site, and by also improving that property seeker experience. So combination of volume of high quality content and engagement from the agents is the way we think we'll be able to claw away at that duopolistic structure that currently exists in the UAE market.
Okay. Well, Jean-Pierre.
And by the way, just one last thing, by the way. We don't see ourselves only as an insurance policy, because the reality is we will be going to the market to raise funding from institutional investors. And if that is the narrative, then I think it's safe to say that we'll probably be very unsuccessful in raising capital from VCs and institutions. So no, it is our intention to break down that duopoly structure and try to gain headwinds. And today our model is a CPL model, but again, to quote you and Simon in your segment about why do incumbents not pivot towards offer management, it's because of the revenues at risk. Because we're early in the journey, we're also open to innovation and also looking at other monetization models to succeed.
Okay, Jean-Pierre, I've got to say some very good answers in there. Personally, I really like talking to a portal that does a performance-based model that has an algorithm that promotes the best content rather than the best paid content. I'm a big fan. I look forward to seeing how you get on raising that money.
Thank you. Thanks, Ed. Thanks for your time. Take care.